Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we in here now. 2025. Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. Oh my goodness. Well,
Come on in, y'all.
right. We are back.
Yeah.
We are back. All right, let me see.
Let me go snatch
Let's
this link real quick and share it to the
same
community
sis.
crew in Atlanta.
Same.
Because we share with the girlies over here. So
Yes.
we're just gonna come and grab this link real quick, snatch it up and share. Which, as soon as you see this, you should also be sharing, because if you are not new here, then you know what it is. Yes, we share. We tag our friends. We send the video out to people because we get into it and we don't want anybody to miss out. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be selfish. We want to be
That's right.
selfish.
Oh, I see somebody hopping on.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I see what I did. Okay. Come on in the room, everybody. We are just sharing the things so everyone can jump in on this goodness.
There we go. I was like, now y'all, if y'all don't show me my video, if y'all don't show me the channel I'm looking
Yes.
for, don't make me fight
Yes.
you. I don't want to fight, but I will.
Don't want to, but absolutely will. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we are.
Shame.
There we are. Okay, so you got us in the community crew.
Yes.
All right. You got us in the community crew. I just want to make sure that our official unfiltered Facebook page went live as well.
I only see YouTube at the top. However, yeah, it only went live on YouTube. But that's all right, because we know what we're doing. So we know how to do it. We know how to get in here.
Yes.
We didn't even coordinate, y'all. We didn't even know it was going to be them
I
two up
know
in
I'm
here.
looking at these colors the same.
I'm like, we're matching. Hey, wait. We didn't even coordinate. This is a brand new t-shirt. While we over here, we be talking our mess as a revivalist, and also as a revivalist who reads banned books. Ow. We don't play them. We don't play those games. And so I've shared on social media. We're shared with our girls.
Yeah. Okay.
Why is all of the spelling being weird? Stop embarrassing me. I know how to spell.
That's so interesting. It's not letting me do that. All right. You got us spread across the things.
Yes, I'm sending us out so we can go ahead and roll while I
Okay.
continue copying and
Wonderful.
pasting. You know what I'm
Okay, beautiful.
saying?
I'll let you do that. Let me welcome the folks.
Yes.
Um Okay, so y'all, welcome. It is June, the month of June in the year of our Lord 2025. And Living Unfiltered is back. We're back. And I am so excited. I'm actually like kind of nervous. It's not like we have never done this before, but like when when the Lord starts having you do something a new way and kind of shifts like your foundation, it feels like the first time again because we're really embarking on a different adventure with Him. And so y'all see we're gonna be doing something a little different. If you've been seeing the post and the things going around on the socials and everywhere that our community has been present and engaging, then you see that we're going live on our Living Unfiltered YouTube channel and our official Living Unfiltered Facebook page, and that we are now operating in our own private community, and we're doing things a different way. So welcome to Living Unfiltered, our affirmation elevation for the month of
Yeah.
June. So let me explain how this is happening now. Every month we're going to come to y'all with the affirmation. Now, additionally, you are going to receive this wonderfully laid out graphic that's going to show you what the worthy work is for each week of the month. Um, and it is helping you to deep dive into the affirmation. And so you'll see that graphic. It's going to lay out the worthy work for each week of the month. And then at the end of the month, you're going to meet with the girls.
Yes.
The girls are gonna be here to chop it up and talk about not just the affirmation, not even just about this practice, but really about the worthy work and all the things that stem from actually uh doing the work surrounding reciting, practicing, embodying, and then seeing it in our real life surrounding a biblical affirmation. So we want y'all to join us because beyond our weekly worthy work and us joining together once a month here, we have our community relaunching just bigger and better, but off of Facebook
Yes.
groups. We have our community launching, and so you're going to get that information tonight too, like how you can join us in a new way, how you can participate, how you can get in on all the things. And I'm talking all the things from like uh yes, the affirmations and the girl time together and chopping it up, but also things like merchandise and events and all the things that Living Unfiltered does. You're going to get access to that in a whole new way, and we're super excited about that. So this is our
Yes.
first night like going live in the way that we're showing up now, and we're super excited to have y'all join us. So let me just explain how we about to kick this night off. Okay, I have my good friend Jasmine Harris Packard on the screen, looking fine,
Hi.
looking fine. I,
Hey
TJ
guys.
Glidden, am here with you tonight. You're gonna see another beautiful face that pop up on this screen in a little bit. Our founder, Dr. Gibson, and we're gonna chat it up about the affirmation this month, and we're gonna get into some. I get to interview my friends tonight, y'all, and you get to be a part of the conversation, really. So, what I want you to do is not hesitate to show up in the comments, because this isn't just us talking to each other. We want y'all to get in on this with us. So just let us know that you're here. Be like, hey, y'all, I'm watching you live. Say who it is and where you from. Let us know,
Yes.
right? Let us know that you're in here. And then whenever you have a comment or whenever you have a question, as we're in our discussion, feel free to drop that because we like to respond. All right. We like to participate.
Yes.
Um, so girl, hey, okay, I see the chat is already lighting up. Hey Rochelle,
Okay.
welcome back to Living Unfiltered. Welcome to our relaunch. It's good to
Welcome.
have you tonight. Yes. Hey girl, hey. Um Okay, so let me. Hey, what's up, Jabrea? I
Hey,
see you. I see
Gabriel.
you. Yes, I see you. Look, if y'all could help us, share the link, let the people know that we're going live. Is going down right now, and we about
Yes.
to start talking for real. So before I talk for real, I want to give you a chance to get up in here. All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the affirmation up on the screen, and I have like a starter question to break the ice, and then we'll get rolling. Okay. So if you saw around the socials, around the interwebs and all those things. Oh, I see somebody else up
Hi.
here too. Oh, that's our founder over there, y'all. That's our founder right there, Dr. Gibson.
Hello, beloved. I'm so excited. We have been working our little tails off. We're so excited to be back. I see my A1 Day ones in the chat. What's up, Rochelle? What's up, Jabrea?
Yep.
I'm very excited.
Yep. Yep.
And I know some of you are going to be catching this on replay because we are broadcasting twice. But if you want to get in where you fit in, if you want to
Yes.
chit chat with us, if you want to ask questions and we answer in real time, live is where it's at. Okay?
Yes,
Live is
indeed.
where it's at. So make sure you tell a friend to
Swear.
tell a friend. This is where they need to be. Okay? But take it away, Takesha.
Yes. So we were, letting the people know kind of how things are going
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
with our new Living Unfiltered 2.0 and that they're going to get more information about the things we have going on as we go through the conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
I just put our affirmation up on the screen. So this month, you may have seen it in the interwebs. Rest is my birthright. That's been the one we was with this month.
Mm-hmm.
Rest is my birthright. And so before we jump into this discussion, really my icebreaker question is, what y'all been doing while Living Unfiltered has been on a little breaky break? What y'all been doing?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all can answer
Thanks
in the
to
chat,
us.
right? Because let me explain this, okay? We were like multiple times a week all year long hanging out together online and in person.
Yeah.
So we went from doing that and like in our private Facebook group and then at our events and things like that. We went from doing that to taking a little break so that we could come back in a new way. And I want to know what y'all been doing. What y'all been doing in the meantime? Feel free to drop that in the chat. And Dr. Gibson, Jasmine, if y'all want to talk on that a little bit, just say, well, this is what I've had going on. This is what I've been working on. I would love to hear that from you.
Girl, so much.
That's
Girl,
a big
so much.
question for Elmo.
So
I
much.
was like, the thing about it, right? I was like, the thing about it is when you say it like that is when it's a lot. It's a lot. We've been doing a lot. I've been doing a lot. I've had some like work opportunities that have been really great. I have had some opportunities to learn some new things when it comes to unfiltered, and I'm like honing in more skills. um Even serving here, I have been spending time with the Lord. I have been reading both scripture and also as much as the enemy don't want me to read this one particular book I've been reading, he don't want me to read it because he know it got tools in it. You know what I'm saying? He know it got tools in it, so he be getting in the way. But every single time that I am reading this particular book, which is He Came to Set the Captives Free, it's like my mind is just blown more and more and more every single time. I had participated in the Consistency and Courage Challenge back in March, and that was phenomenal. Shout out to Dr. Gibson for that great idea, because we needed a restart just then, and we probably need another restart right now, which is, you know what I'm saying? We're out here live for the first time for 2025, so I feel like it's a good time for you to start whatever that thing is that you've been putting off. And I feel like that just is right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For my business, I got to go to California a couple times last month. And that was amazing. And I just was like, wow, this is so great. Now the rain that followed me from the East Coast to the West Coast and back again, and then decided to just camp out on the East Coast as soon as I got home. And it's just, and if wherever you are, if you are on the East Coast, I know you know what I'm talking about, because it don't matter where you live, it has rained every single day. It has rained every single day. It just was a torrential downpour just a few minutes ago, and now the sun's trying to peek out just before setting. And I just would like to know that I noticed. I just want y'all to know that I noticed, and my feelings was hurt about it. But I am glad to be here. I'm glad to be back. I'm grateful that we are deep diving and we're inviting y'all into deeper community that has, like, we be invested in y'all. We be invested in our community. We love us some you, okay, in a big way. And so we are inviting y'all into deeper community in this relaunch, which is super exciting. And we're going to talk more about it. But I'm just happy to be here. And there's so many more things that I just can't think of right now. But yes, that's me.
That was wonderful. I want
Yes.
to that was wonderful. I just need you to know that. I want to like open this to Dr. Gibson. I want you to also share about what you've had going on, but then if you wouldn't mind also giving your version of, because I did one, but I feel like you about to do it even more justice. Give your version of how we are coming back as Living Unfiltered.
Like a locomotive. So there's a lot that's happening. First of all, let's see what the chat says. Jabrea said, I'm just loving life and all the opportunities and such. Because our girl has been flourishing. I don't mean to, toot her horn, but beep beep. Okay. Somebody has a new job. I'm not gonna tell a story for that she loves. She's on the board because she started her own organization and then got on the board for the regional one. Yeah. And our girl also is modeling. She was in Rhode Island Fashion Week. Yeah. Yeah. When Jabrea says she out here flourishing, she means that thing. Okay. And Rochelle, I see you too. Okay. Did somebody say promotion? Oh, that's what I heard. Okay. Because one thing the LU girls are going to do is thrive and evolve. That's what we're finna do. Okay, so let's talk about it. I know we're used to being on Facebook, going live every week. We have an affirmation on Monday, and then we check in Wednesday. We go live on Friday. We've had let's do a little recap because we've had five. We were in our fifth unfiltered December. Okay. Look, even our logo updated. Let me tell you something. Okay, it's new everywhere. And we have had 5 unfiltered Decembers. We have had Saved Summer Sex series, which in my personal opinion is groundbreaking, a virtual life-changing conference with the experts. We did the best of the best. We have had a one-day conference that was life-changing, to be quite honest. We had a TED Talk right before that conference. We also have what is one of my favorite, I think it's the favorite for so many of us. We host an annual retreat, and that's on top of all of the other things that we do. So the essence of the community is going to be there. We're just enhancing it even more. So we've done a lot in our first 4 to 5 years of just making it shake. We're just getting started. So that was just a rundown of where we were before, not where we're going. We now have a new format, and I know Mrs. Glennon already told you about that. And we are engaging every week, but it's gonna look a little bit different. So at the beginning of every month, we are doing what we call Affirmation Elevation, and it's a month-long pursuit every month. At the beginning of every month, we are not only going to give you your affirmation for the month, but instead of giving you your worthy work a little bit at a time, slow dripping it to you, we give it to you in the beginning of the month so that you get a clear picture of what you're working on and where you're going. And when you're ready to start, you don't have to wait for us. It's right there for you, okay? So we introduce it in the beginning of the month, and then every week you are going to do the worthy work for that week. Then at the end of the month, like where we are now, that Friday, we are going to do an Affirmation Elevation live, or you can call it Affirmation Elevation. You can call it LUAE. I mean, get in where you fit in, okay? But we are going to that's where we're situated now. We are going to make sure that we are really applying this, that we're not just clicking in and out, but that we are strategically and systematically investing and taking our worthy work to another level. Because let me tell you what often happens. We've done the work before, and then we sometimes ride off the high that we've done it before versus maintaining, sustaining, and ascending. And that's part of what we're called to do. If you've done initial breaking of the ground, that's so incredible. But in order to truly undo, in order to become, you don't stop undoing. So this is part of the work that we are doing to make sure that everyone is evolving and growing together. So that's how our affirmations are going to work. So we're still doing the work every week, and you're still going to see us every month. We have 4 priorities for the year. We're going to go over that a little bit later, just to share with you what our priorities are. If you want to know what they are, they're listed on our link tree. And I know we live a link tree down, but actually we have a whole new home. What do we mean by that? Our community is going to be housed on Podia. So nobody knows. That's the first announcement. So our community is going to be housed on Podia. Tomorrow we're launching a completely new website, and it'll be our home base. It'll include products and resources. So you ever attended one of our conferences or events and you wanted the replay, or maybe you want a workbook or something else to help you dive more deeply, or to refresh the work that you've done, or to go to a place you haven't been, we have that available for you. And we still have our merch available too. And what's one of the most amazing things about this home is that it's where our community hub will be. So we will have private membership, and we'll talk about what that means, but it's unlike anything we've done before. And there are perks on perks on perks on perks on perks. So for example, the way we do worthy work, and we released it, at the beginning of the month, well, if you are a member, you actually get a customized journal every month curated to your worthy work, right? That's one of the benefits of joining the community, and they are endless. And I mean, we start at a very low cost, affordable rate, and we go high. We go up there. If you are really trying to transform your life, there's so many things we're going to do. We're also going to be doing bookings and resources so we can bring our practice outside of our community. It's unfiltered to the world, y'all. So if you see us somewhere, you see us on a flyer, doing leadership development or teaching people about how to learn unfiltered and what that looks like, or just bringing what we do every day to colleges and or nonprofits and churches and organizations, we're going to be in the streets. And if you want us to be on your street, then you need to set up a consultation so we can get this party started. But it's a whole new era, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm going to put the reins back into Keisha's hands. We just wanted to give you a little taste that this is unlike an unfiltered you've ever seen before. And we have been saturating this in prayer, in love, in supplication, and really seeking God. What is his vision for where we're going to go? If you are new here, you are so welcome. And if you're an OG, this is the time to step out of the box. I know you've been looking at that water, you're stepping out of the boat, because our goal is to catapult you into your next. Okay. Oh, and we'll be expanding our community cruise. So we're very, very excited about that as well. So we bringing a party literally to you. Take it away, TK.
I love that because, well, for so many reasons. Anyway, I love that y'all may have seen like in the posts and things where it's like, okay, we're back, and us kind of joking around saying like we would say like we never left, but really we did. We took a step back, not back, honestly, we took a step underground, or a hidden step essentially, so that we could make like 2011 steps forward. Ariana, hey girl. um hey girl, hey. We were just talking about like what we've been doing since Living Unfiltered went on a little break, and so you want to drop in the chat some things you've had going on since December, then we welcome you to do that. But I love the idea of like just taking a minute so that really the Lord can just quantum leap us. And thank you. So that actually lends us, oh, thank you, Jazz. You know what, you got that, girl. That actually lends us into the thing that I was going to say is, so while Living Unfiltered has been in its it's resting and essentially building, same thing for me. I've had a lot going on. Last time y'all saw me, I had celebrated an anniversary. I was pregnant, and now the baby has come out. And I had a whole maternity leave while we were gone, and so much more,
Just
honestly.
made a whole
And
human,
really,
like no big deal.
oh my gosh, like a whole human. Come on here. Administrated a church plant. Hold up, let's get that on the
Hold
screen.
on. Yeah.
Administrated a church plant. To God be the glory. Not I'm in my rest. My babies are gone for a month. Oh Lord, come on here.
Woo!
Look, I understand because it's summertime, and for some of y'all who know my story, like that I went through a whole separation and divorce, and I moved 8 hours up the East Coast from where I used to live. And so I also have that experience where sometimes my kids are gone for a couple weeks. And so, Ari, I'm about to be right there with you. We are taking a family trip, and then after that family trip, the girls are going to spend a few weeks with some of their family in the South. And so it's like, I feel you. I feel you. But rest, okay, so rest is my birthright. Then this comes at like the perfect timing, because coming off of a maternity leave, that also coincided with a time that the Lord told me I was going to be in a season of rest before basically getting into a we going season. The timing of this is all just divine. And so I really want to kick us off with a question. Actually, I want to real quick just kind of say what the worthy work like overview was for each week, and then we can chop it up a little bit. So for week 1, our focus for our worthy work in regards to rest is my birthright was, what was I taught about rest? Because y'all know we've been talking about this from the conception, but like how we actually learn, how we become who we are, right? Which is a part of why part of this praxis is the undoing in order to become, right? We've talked about how we get into who we have become. And so one of those things is, what are we taught? What have we been conditioned to, right? So first week of worthy work, we got into what was I taught about rest. And so in the worthy work, if you scan that QR code and you downloaded your worksheet and you got all your prompts and your examples, then you went through really digging into like what were some of your beliefs growing up with regarding rest? What were some of your views on rest? Was it seen as lazy? Was it indulgent, earned, sinful? Where did those beliefs come from, right? And you really dug into that for week 1. So then in week 2, we shifted into, okay, well, that's what you were taught, and we dig into how did you get there. Then it shifted into what should you actually understand about rest? Like, what should we understand? If I truly believe that rest is my birthright, what would my Sabbath or rest look like? And I skipped saying the rest day part, because really, if we're talking about rest as my birthright, then we're really approaching rest as an identity, and rest as a posture that we're consistently and continuously in. It's perpetual, not just we do it on a day, we practice it on a day, right? So then we shifted from that and then into the week 3 worthy work. Rest as your identity. So what I was just getting into, right? Who am I becoming as I learn to rest? How does rest reconnect me with who God says I am? What do I learn about how Jesus wants to act for me as I rest in Him? And how can my everyday display rest as a lifestyle leading in Sabbath? And so, considering those things as the worthy work we approached this affirmation with over the course of this month, my first question to y'all, and whoever wants to go first, take it away. Y'all drop your, conversation in the, hey, y'all drop your y'all drop your comments in the chat if you want to answer the questions. And so my first question is, this may not be the first time you've heard this affirmation. So this time around, hearing the affirmation, what stirred up in you personally as you were approaching the affirmation and the worthy work? What stirred up in you? So it might not be the first time you heard it, but at this point in your life, what did it stir up considering this one?
And I'm just letting you know that we're on the screen, but that is a question for all of us.
Yes.
So
yes, all of us.
When you hear
Yes.
that, you can answer in the chat, because we're having a girl chat. This is all of us on here.
Yes, that's good.
Jazz, do you want to start?
We really do invite you to comment, and maybe we'll chat, but we're going to be checking what y'all say.
Sure, I'll start. So one of the things that comes up for me, or came up for me in this round, was the realization that, like, I think the first time through, I didn't really have an understanding of really what rest is. I think the first time around, I think I viewed rest as like, are you sleeping enough? I think the first time I heard that this affirmation, I was like, are you sleeping enough? Like, are you getting enough actual, like, are you like laying down and like resting your body and like resting your mind? This time around, I think I've had to investigate the fact that rest shows up in many different areas, just like you were just saying, right? It's as an identity. And I realized that for me, I was like, ooh, I be like approaching rest one like it's earned. So in the first week of worthy work, it was like, that rest is earned, is like something that I was taught. Is that it's earned, and that if I have not earned it, then I should be like anxious about taking rest in any moment that I've not feel like I've earned it. And also that because that is the way that I have engaged with rest for most of my life, that the only real rest that I afford myself is when my body cannot go anymore. And like, is like, oh, I'll give myself like real rest, like where I'm just allowing myself to just breathe and be, and let that be a peaceful thing. I would only let that happen when I was so unwell that I couldn't get out of bed. And then I'd be like, well, I guess I'm being forced to rest now, but even that rest is not restful, because for me, that means I'm in probably excruciating pain. Possibly I am having all kinds of issues and can't keep food down or whatever. Like, it's all kinds of things that could be going on that are now making this not a restful situation, but a stressful situation. And yeah, I think that was like, I was like, oof, like that is uncomfortable, to recognize, as like, oh, like you're feeling like you have to earn it. And then the only time that you give it to yourself freely is not really you're giving it to
You're
yourself,
not
is your
giving
body
it,
is your
taking
body
it.
is like, I'm taking this rest, I will have
Yeah.
this, and I don't care what it costs us. Yeah, so that was, I think that was my biggest, like, that's what came up to the surface when I first started approaching this affirmation. I was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that is not comfy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, something, so y'all already know my background being in like the biological and human sciences.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had learned, and I'm gonna pull up the comments as well. What I had learned in school and in life is that when you get to the point of actually experiencing the symptoms of like shutdown and exhaustion and stuff, you've actually done more damage to your body and your psyche than what you know, because our bodies are so resilient and so strong, and they have all of these mechanisms put in them, you know, because the Lord is who he is, like genius that he is. He put all of these things in the human body,
Mhm.
not to compensate, but for lack of a better phrase, to compensate for when we are not necessarily taking the best care and having the most balance. And so when we get to the point of your body is like in excruciating pain, or your body is shutting down, we're
Mm-hmm.
really past the point of
Yeah.
no return. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like we don't even recognize to not get to 10, because we never recognize that we deserve
Right.
it back at 3, 4, and 5. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think that is so good to bring that up, that you felt like you had to earn it, and you felt like you uh really was only experiencing it when your body would take it from you. um I think that we can relate to that, and I want to bring up what some of the folky folk have been saying. So let me pull
Yes.
up Aries first, because I saw her pop in first, and she was saying that it was confirmation. I was struggling with releasing, so I can't rest. It
Mm.
exposed my agreement with hustle culture, even though I didn't believe I was hustling.
Mm.
And let
Shush.
so this is the thing that I mean is like, sometimes we don't realize that our perspective or perception of this thing is slightly skewed until we have to dig into it and see how does it actually line up with the truth. Then we'd be finding out how far off from the truth we really are. My God. Okay, so
Jesus.
that is so good and so
Jesus.
relatable. Let me
Mm.
read the other ones, and then I want to get Dr. Gibson to share too. Okay, so Jabrea said that rest looks very different for me during this time in my life. Rest doesn't mean I have to completely stop, but rest looks like doing things that actually bring me and only
Woo.
me. Come on here, parenthesis,
I
and
throw
only me
something.
peace and joy. And you know what? I really appreciate you saying that, Jabrea, because it kind of lends to what Jasmine just said about it being like earned, where it's like if it's not benefiting somebody outside of us, then we almost don't agree with doing it. But like it's not it's not about them. Okay, I'm sorry. So that really is so good. It's not necessarily stopping particular things, but sometimes
Mhm.
it's having like this really is an abundance versus lack principle. It's not taking something away and putting something in a deficit. Sometimes it is adding more of the better thing. Okay, so Zigga, I call
Mhm.
her Zigga Z, but she said, for me, it challenged my understanding of rest. The
Mm.
times I thought I was resting, I was not. I didn't quite realize that rest was more than sleeping. This is good because Jasmine brought that up too, right? for the very first thing we think, rest mean go take a nap, right? I'm realizing that rest is not just another thing to do. That's so good. But it's
Right.
also a posture. I struggle with just
Yes.
being. I think that we can all relate.
Mhm.
And in
Jeez.
saying that, actually, Dr. Gibson, go ahead and tag in there for how this was for you.
So there's some things, we all based on how we are wired and how we are shaped in heaven's womb and then with the hands of the earth, right? Like that we have certain proclivities and there's some things that come easy to us and there's some things it's just like this. I gotta submit to the Lord regularly. I gotta learn this. And it's kind of like with deliverance. I've been having conversations about deliverance a lot recently. And um, you know, the true revelation is not just this moment, right? Like it's in the moment, and it's like sanctification, it's like salvation. In the moment, yes, it is an experience, an instance, but it is also a practice that we must maintain in order to sustain what happened in the moment. Rest in that area is a thing for me that is just like, okay,
Mhm.
it's not just I got this revelation of rest, it's so good. I have to kill the desire that wants to resist the holiness of rest. I have to kill it regularly. So there's always a level and a layer of something for me to learn. So I'm gonna share a couple things because excuse me, it hit me different every time. And for those of you who don't know, it's been a lot going on, like major move. Well, of course, we had the challenge, like, and just I have been in
I
an
forgot the
uphill
name.
but victorious battle with health. um and so it positions me very uniquely in my relationship with rest and body. So imagine having the nature of a busybody, and I don't mean busybody like running my mouth even though I talk a lot. I mean I'm just always somewhere doing something, needing to produce. That's the nature. That's not the nature I submit to, but I know it's there. It's something I have to keep dead, right? And then you have this other extreme where you are completely surrendered because you don't have control. Here's the thing. One of the things that rest does is it exposes us, and it puts us in a position where if we are to truly engage with it, we must relinquish false identities. We must relinquish a need to control, because when you are in rest, someone else is taking care of whatever it is. It is a posture of dependency, and that's why your flesh is going to resist it, because it's going to resist dependency. It also reorganizes things in our life so that we remember who the true God is, like, and who's actually Lord over everything. And so when you're in this false identity of performance, when you are in a false identity of validation seeking, when you're in these false identities, they must be exposed when you're laying down the idol of busyness. It has to be exposed. So that's one of the things that rest does. It shows us where our posture is. It shows us where our heart is. It reminds us, because rest is always going to remind us who God is. And it was so significant that the God
Mhm.
of the universe modeled rest for us, then had the nerve to come down in flesh and show us. Every time he was like, I gotta go be with my dad. That's cool. I gotta steal away. I need to go. I need to be. To the extent he was sleep, even when it was physical rest, right? He was like, I'm gonna sleep on this boat. It may be inopportune for me, but I'm a rest because
Right.
I am the rest. Amen. But anyway, so there are a couple things. Um and something that TK and Jasmine were talking about came up in this analogy the Lord showed me like recently, because I'm like, even now, right? Like Atlanta's my home base. I'm not even in Atlanta. I'm in Rhode Island. I was in a kind of a dance like, I don't know when I'm coming home. I came to surprise my friend, maybe go to the doctor. I've been here ever since. It's been a lot going on. And so I'm like in it.
Mhm.
When we're talking about like rest and knowing what it means and navigating our relationship with rest, I'm super duper in it. So let's go over a few things. One is, um, let's start with full versus capacity. Okay. And if you follow me on TikTok, you've probably seen a TikTok about it. But I was helping my mom clear out the fridge, and there was a bag that was not filled to the brim, But I moved on to the next bag, and she was just like, but that bag's not full. And I said, no, I know it doesn't look full, but because of the contents inside, because of what we're putting in is so heavy, it actually is already at its capacity. Anything past this and the bag will break, even though it doesn't look full. So we have to move on to a different container so we don't overextend it beyond. You know what I'm saying? Because the outcome of that is what it's in it is gross, and we don't want to end up having to pick up the pieces because we didn't honor the bag's, like, like the bag's capacity. I said this very matter of factly. I'm going outside, and at first she didn't get it. Then she was like, oh, I understand. Because to her, at first it looks like, are you being wasteful? Why would you stop? It can hold more. Keep going. And then she realized, oh, the capacity and its fullness, they're not the same thing. So as I was going outside to the trash, the Lord was like, do you get it? I was like, hold on, Lord. So I was really challenged with understanding that full and capacity are not the same thing. And this is to what Takesha's talking about from a biological standpoint, and what Jasmine is talking about from an experiential standpoint, is that by the time we get to the place, and hear me, I'm a person who wouldn't leave jobs. I would literally work myself into a medical crisis and couldn't return without a doctor's note, right? Like I know working to burnout because I thought that that's the standard. And I come from this. And it's a generational thing, right? Like, and then I was immersed in a church culture. So we have a society at large that only values us on what we produce. Then there's a church culture that's based on religiosity and works. And that says that the human of me is to be detested and not to be honored or valued. And I'm only valued as what I can produce. And I'm always running, not just trying to make 100, but always striving for something, because it's never enough. And then I come from a culture and a home and a bloodline of like workaholism, and where your value is only based on that. So it's definitely a battle. But when I realized, oh, I have this intimate relationship with thinking full means capacity, and I also base it on what it looks like, because the bag only looked about halfway to 3/4 full, but it was already at its capacity. It almost would have exceeded it if we would have kept going. And so realizing that to truly honor a vessel, you must honor its capacity. And the goal is that you would finish the task, that it would be effective for its intended use. If I were to fill that bag, it no longer would be effective for its intended use, because it would bust and it would break. So now I'm going to have to exert additional labor. That's us. It's about what is the capacity, and capacity is tied to what you are graced for the season that you're graced for that thing. To go beyond it proves nothing to anyone. It is risky. It is irresponsible, right? We want to know the difference between what capacity and full is. And when you are at capacity, you know that it's an invitation to rest. And it's the only way that you can create something that's a rhythm and a lifestyle, and not just this momentary back, or not even this momentary back and forth between, oh my gosh, I'm completely burnt out and I have nothing left, or now I feel so badly because I can't do anything and I'm off season. Which leads me to another point, that rest prevents idleness. So a lack of rest actually is a recipe for idleness. The devil has taught you that, oh, no, you have to keep going, you have to keep going, you have to keep going, because you can't sit down, because, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, right? Because God needs your help to hold the universe together. But anyway, that's what we are taught. But the reality is, this is what happens. It's this cycle. We don't know full versus capacity with rest. What happens is the lack of rest has you out of season and out of sync. You're using your body outside of its intended purpose, and it's an intended intention, because God never asked you to do all of that. So now, when it's time to be on, and when it's time to be ready and available, because you skipped the season appointed for your rest, now all you want to do is nothing, but you're needed. When you don't honor rest, you think you're avoiding idleness, but it's setting you up for a cycle for idleness. And that's the enemy's long game for you. Okay. Just a couple more things. I'm almost done. The Lord has really been dealing with me about dependency on grace. I know if you've been around, you've heard me say it at least once. This utter dependency on grace. and understanding like especially in a space where I don't have control over a lot of things, and somebody wanting to steward well and being like, why would you give me the vision you gave me and then put me in this predicament and put me in this body? And I realized that that's an understandable question, and it's very human and it's very logical, and it's reasonable in that vein. But you can tell that the posture behind it is assuming that I'm the one who is the one who has to do the things. This experience is really pushing me to understand that rest really has us negotiate our relationship with understanding that when I ask those kinds of questions, I'm looking from the lens of my own limitations and my capacity. That's when I start resenting rest, because I'm looking at it like I have to do the job that God does. And when what rest, again, it pushes me to be like, I have to depend on him. And then what I started learning was like, there's a strategic contentment. And I say strategic because it's a weapon. It's a strategic contentment. It's a choice. It doesn't just happen where you're just like, it's okay. I don't know when I'm going up, and that's okay. I've got a breathing machine over here, and that's okay. Not because it's okay and not because it's fun, but I'm choosing contentment in this situation because I'm going to lean not on my understanding of the situation. I'm going to lean on dependence on grace. And we don't understand how significant and how impactful that tool is of truly depending on grace, but it is our most powerful seat. And rest is the posture that you have when you are leaning in that way. You're not holding up your own weight. You're in a rested state when you're leaning in his dependence. And that is when you are most powerful. And that's when God can use you most effectively. And so I just want to share a scripture really quickly. And then we're going to move on because I don't want to usurp all of the time. Well, I'm gonna share a definition of scripture. So the definition is just the definition of birthright. And it says a right, privilege, or possession to which a person is entitled by birth. A right, a privilege, and this is Merriam-Webster, or possession to which a person is entitled by birth. There's nothing that they did to earn that thing. And we talked about the different things. Oh, come on, devotional. We talked about different things that rest is. It's not just a thing to do. Zainab was talking about the being of rest, right? The girls were talking about rest being an identity. So I appreciate that this definition is saying that it is it's a person's entitlement simply by being born. But it says three different things. It says it's a right. And we would like to think that when rights, and we're talking about what it has to do with humans, it's an inalienable right. It's not something someone can give you or take away. By virtue of you existing as a human, you have a right to this thing. So that's telling me, oh my goodness, it has something to do with my identity. And then it's a privilege. So it's a right, but it's also a privilege. It's an opportunistic thing, but not in the way that we think only certain people are allowed to have it. It's an opportunity in that it is a blessing that's ingrained with how we are supposed to be wired. So it's a right and it's a privilege. So there's a favor of rest that we are supposed to have. And then it's a possession. So it's not just something that you are to do, but it's something that you are to have and tend and keep. It is a possession that's entitled to you by birth, but it's your job to steward the possession of rest well. And then we also know, so we know that it's who we are, how we position ourselves. It's who we are because it's our entitlement by birth. It's an opportunity, a privilege. It's a favor given to us. And it's also the thing that we are called to steward significantly. So that's the definition of rest. And then I'll share you the scripture that about told me up because I've been just camping out in 2 Corinthians. Let's see. Where's the verse? I gotta go down a little bit. Verse 12, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 12. We can say with confidence, and this could eat for so many reasons, but I'm going to tie it to rest. And hopefully you see the through line here. We can, in this NLT, we can say with confidence and clear conscience and a clear conscience that we have lived with a God-given holiness and sincerity in all our dealings. We have depended on God's grace, not on our own human wisdom. That is how we have conducted ourselves before the world, and especially towards you. You may be like, girl, what that got to do with rest? Well, I was mind boggled that the first part of the scripture is talking about the confidence of just knowing that they got it like that. Like Paul is like, I'm confident I've been holy. I know it. I know that it's been God given. I've been living with God given holiness. I just know. I know. And I'm like, how do you? I be trying to know. I be wanting to know. I have security in Christ. But like, how does one speak so confidently that they've been living in this holiness in this way? How does that happen? How can your conscience be so clear? Because that's also talking to me about peace and rest. When your conscience is clear and it's not riddled with activity and anxiety about your posturing, your positioning, or your perception in Christ. How do you just know that? And Paul has been through hell and suffering. He's like, and I know I'm living holy. So what about it? I was like, how did you do that? And it was simple. Because in the next sentence, he says, we have depended on God's grace and not on our own human wisdom. Do you want a recipe for holiness and how to obtain it and how you sustain it and how God measures your holiness? It's not in your performances. It's not in how much you wring yourself out dry. If that's the case, we wouldn't have to be talking about people in 1 Corinthians 13 talking about all the stuff they did. In Matthew 25 talking about all the stuff they did, but they still didn't do it in love and they didn't do it in righteousness, so it didn't count, right? It's not about what you're doing. The way that you can have a clear conscience and a confidence in holiness is not in your performance. It is in your capacity to depend on the grace of God, aka to rest in the fullness of his grace. That is the measure of your holiness. That's the measure of your efficacy. How well can you do that? How strategic can your contentment be in that the grace of God is sufficient? Rest is an act portraying that. It's an act professing that. Yeah, it's an act and it's a posture and it's an identity we take on that says, yes, we will lean fully on the grace of God. We will be dependent on him and he will do the heavy lifting for everything else. And Paul says that is how we have conducted ourselves before the world. And we model it. We show them that we can trust God. We can rest while it's storming because he's trustworthy. We don't have to control everything because he's trustworthy. And though we were sinners, we can rest in his grace. That's all.
Let me tell you something that we in our Living Unfiltered Core Team exactly. Let me tell y'all something that we constantly have to address in our core team is when the ninjas be doing stuff like that and then end it with a that's it.
We all do this.
We literally all of us do it and then be like, no, you ain't gonna sit here dropping Jesus bombs on us and profound wisdom and revelation and then be like, oh, but that's it. Look, okay.
It's so cool.
Right, that's all I have. Okay, so all she just said is so good for so many reasons. One, because she's all in my notes and all the questions I was gonna ask. She already answered about 4 of them. So I'm going to steer us then in a direction because she's dropped the gems already. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing that I want to mention is a lot of us on the microphone and in the chat mentioned how, one thought we had was that rest was sleep, rest was sleeping or like physically resting. So sleeping or not actively doing something physical, right? And so I wanted to share something about this season of rest. So things that were personally stirred up for me is that I was mentioning I was quote unquote in a maternity leave and having a baby who this is my first child that I did not supplement, like breastfeed and supplement with a bottle and formula. And So there were like these levels of rest physically that I had with my first two children, where when they slept, I was sleeping. That I did not, it's not happening this time. This one ain't sleeping. Okay. Anyway, and so when I heard the Lord tell me like that I'm in a season of rest, and yeah, it had something to do with recovering from having a child, but also it was the season that I was supposed to be in. I wasn't sleeping. And so I was like, well, Lord, what is the rest supposed to look like this time? You know, because I did clear my calendar. I divvied out all of my responsibilities to other people. And on top of that, I was trying to sleep because I had just had a baby. And the two things that I thought he was telling me to do when it came to rest, which was get some sleep and then sit down somewhere, is not at all what the rest looked like. So I saw a lot of us say, you know, thinking we thought like rest was not doing but being, and we thought rest was getting some sleep, you know, but then finding out that it what really was not that. So the next question that I have, and like I said, we've kind of touched on it a little bit already, but I want to hear it from all of you, and I'm going to tell you what what the answer was for me is now going through approaching rest as your birthright this time around. What do you understand rest to be for you in this season? Like, how has your understanding of rest changed since approaching it this season? What do you understand it to be for you now? And I'm going to share part of my answer to give y'all some time to think about that. So like I mentioned, for me, I thought two things that I was supposed to do was to like not be doing as much, and so I cleared up my calendar and my responsibilities, and then I was also trying to actively like sleep and lay down somewhere, and those two things is not what happened. So when I'm asking God, like, what does rest look like for me if I'm not able to sleep, and if I did give everything away, like, what do you want? And he brought me back to when he first started talking to me about this a few years ago, and I've shared this with y'all, but it's really like three aspects to this. Dr. Gibson has touched on it a bit, Jasmine has touched on it a bit, but the first one is the whole Mary Martha deal, right? I'll just explain. Like, when God first started talking to me about rest, he brought up that story, and how, you know, Martha, she was busy doing all the things to prepare to host Jesus in her home, and her sister Mary was sitting at Jesus's feet. And you know, she tells Jesus, like, aren't you going to tell her to come help me, right? I'm paraphrasing and I'm condensing, but y'all know the story, right? And when I had looked up, just trying to get close to the original language and context of the scripture, I learned that when Jesus approached Mary, telling her, you know, she was busy, she was careful for a lot, he wasn't only telling her like, you're doing too much, you're doing a lot. He was also telling her like, the state of your mind is anxious, the state of your mind is consumed by things that it's not supposed to be consumed with, right? Like, the state of your mind is one that it's being tossed about all over the place. And your sister chose the better thing, meaning like there is a whole lot to do, there is a whole lot to be thinking about, but instead she's just sitting receiving from me, right? And God highlighted that to me again, being a lesson he really needed me to get this time, because you know, sometimes we get the little snippets of it, but it hasn't actually become who we are and how we are functioning. And so he brought it back to me and was like, your mind, get your mind right, like. And so then I'm like, well, how are we doing this then, Lord? How? And he's like, I'm the one who washes your mind, like I'm the one who does this. So he brought me back to the, I need you to be think about what you're thinking about, like, hello, let's do an audit again, and let's get rid of, exactly, mind your mind and mind your mouth, like all of these affirmations, because they are us undoing false identity and then becoming our true identity, really remembering who we are and being set back to who we are, right? they all touch on each other. So that is what he said to me. He was like, again, mind your mind, excavate the lies, excavate the limiting beliefs, take an audit at what's happening in there, because yeah, you're trying to sleep, and yeah, you gave your responsibilities to everybody, but girl, your brain, your head is all over the place. And so then now, in saying that, and yes, we talked about this in leadership. Are you in the moment or movement? That's so good, because then the next thing that the Lord told me was about what focus actually looks like, what singleness of mind actually looks like, right? So there is this dependency that we are supposed to have. Everything really is supposed to be like God first, and functioning from the place of, what did God say? Like, what did he say about you? What did he say about what's going on? And if you didn't hear it, then you need to go talk to him. Like, if you don't remember, you better go ask him to bring it back. And if you're not moving in that way, then you need to realign with the way that he said it, right? And so the Lord was showing me the other scripture that he brought up about Peter when he got out the boat in faith and was walking on that water to Jesus. And then when the storm picked up and he paid more attention to the storm than Jesus, he started to sink. And Jesus was telling him, like, you have little faith. But I think, we always go to the faith part. But the fact of the matter is, he lost focus. Like, he stopped focusing on Jesus and started focusing on something else. He started focusing on the situation and the scenario and the surroundings, and not on Jesus. And so that was the thing that the Lord was showing me. The other rest was like, yes, mind your mind, mind your mouth, right? But then it was, and now I need you in this present moment to be present, and your eye be set on me, like focus on me. And as I'm focused on him, all of these other things will be taken care of. And as I noticed things needed to be done or weren't being taken care of, this goes back into the dependent piece. I was supposed to ask him, help me. I don't understand. Can you help me understand? I cannot do. Can you do? And I looked over at my whiteboard, because I really set out a whole battle plan to keep me focused, and it's near my bed. So as I was sitting here breastfeeding this baby, dog tired, I would look at the whiteboard, and the whiteboard had a whole bunch of scriptures and affirmations that I kept reading them, looking at them, rehearsing them out loud, so that my focus stayed on the Lord, right? And some of them, like, I had them categorized in colors. And I'm really giving y'all like practical examples of what it looked like for me at the start, because it has evolved. But some of the things that I was considering was the fact that, like I said, when I was breastfeeding in my previous journeys with my daughters, I had to supplement because I thought I wasn't making enough, because they would cry. And it turns out like that wasn't even the case. They weren't even hungry. I needed to learn the way that they were expressing their needs to me, right? And so I have on here like I am a milky mama, right? And the Lord has designed my body to function properly to fulfill the needs of my child. And I make more than enough, to fulfill my son's needs. And it turns out now, like, the way how this has transformed, because I focused on that. And then I focused on the fact that Jesus, like, God's the one who designed this. He the one who made this. Lord, help me. Like, help me produce enough to sustain this life. And he did. And he did. There's a whole lot of things that come to that, but like, that's just a practical example. And so I really wanted us to just press into that. Like, how did your understanding shift? So I thought I was supposed to get some sleep. I thought I was supposed to give my responsibilities away. And then it turned out really that the Lord was like, no, I need you to discipline your brain, and I need you to focus on me, and then ask me for help, and stop trying to do everything yourself. Like, stop doing that. I kid y'all not. My husband would literally be like, what are you doing right now? Because I'd have the baby in one hand and then I'd be like about to clean the living room, and then while I'm cleaning the living room, I'm also cooking dinner, or I'm like about to make all these different stops, because to me it makes sense that as I shift from this space to that space, let me just tackle the things as they go, and in my progression I'm handling everything that's on the way to where I'm going. And he's looking at me foolish in the face like, girl, when's the last time you ate something? Oh, you want to go cut the grass before you go eat? Like, he was talking smack. That boy talked some smack to me and was like, girl, go sit down somewhere, for real. Like, if you try to do one more thing before you pass out from starvation, like, I'm a deal with you. Okay. So like, I really want us to think about this. Oh, the battery done died in my light. Okay. And I want y'all to just hop in the comments. I seen some comments. I want y'all to hop in on the mic. How has your understanding of rest changed now that you learned that it wasn't exactly what you thought it was? What was it then for you?
For me, first of all, I could have screamed when you started talking about Martha and Mary, because that was the whole thing. It was like, you need to break your agreement with anxiety. Like, you need to come out of agreement with anxiety and the work, because the work is not, oh, I need to do it because if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it, or it's not going to get done. It was, I need to do this because if I don't, this bad thing is going to happen, or I'm going to be viewed as like, maybe, like if I'm like, when I said it was like a mind thing and not just like a, bodily rest thing, it was like when I would try to stay ahead initially, when I would try to stay ahead of the anxiety is what I will say. When I try to stay ahead of the anxiety and be like, oh, well, let me just, sit down and have lunch. I would be like, I would be feeling anxiety about sitting down and having some lunch and being like, well, what about like, I'm sitting down having lunch right in the neighborhood where my client lives and all these other things. And what if they're working from home? What if they need to pop out for something? What if they come in the same store that I'm in right now and they see me sitting down eating? Like, while I'm on the clock. Well, what if I can't finish the entire to-do list today? Are they going to think I'm lazy? Like, are they going to think that I am not, that I don't care about what what needs to get done? If I take a day off but I'm not terribly horribly ill, are people going to think that I am just taking advantage of my sick days? Like, and it would be like that all of the time. It would be like that all the time. And I also realized that part of that was actually instilled, work-wise, was actually instilled in me because of my first job, where I worked at KFC. I worked in fast food. I worked there for 8 years. And one of the things that was a standout feature was that you could not take any kind of a break without one. If it was a bathroom break, you need to let somebody know, and somebody had to be able to pop in and cover you. And if it was a, like, I'm about to pass out, I need to sit down and eat something, it would be like, well, look, we're running $1,000 hours right now, so you can't go on a break. You can't, I know you've been here for the last 10 hours. You can't go on a break. When we close the lobby, then, we can start taking breaks. That's at 9:30 at night. I know you've been here since 11 a.m. And no, I know that you haven't had a meal since you got here at 11 a.m. and it's now 9:30 at night. And you've been running around and sweating and doing physical labor and dealing with all kinds of stuff, right? But you can't have that break. And so now even when I'm working, I'm like, man, this is me having to come to this realization with clients that seemingly care more about my well-being than I do, that care more about me resting and having time and all this, and being like, look, you should just go, like, if I am here and I'm like, oh, I feel like a little bit of a head pain coming on. She's like, yeah, you should go to bed. You should go to bed. Yeah. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, the conditioning has me like, is this a trap? Is this a trick? And so when it was me having to engage with this affirmation this time around, it's like, oh, you're in agreement with anxiety. And it's part of the reason why so many different things can go wrong all at one time in your body, is this agreement with anxiety. Like, come out of agreement with anxiety. And it makes me think of, where was I just? So Matthew, where was I? There we go. It was Matthew 11. That's where I was. Matthew 11 and 28 and 29. Then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens. This is the NLT version. And carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Like, it wasn't just needing rest in my body that I knew about. It was not realizing that I needed rest in my soul. And that having that letting anxiety be the guiding principle in how I engage everything, from having a meal in the middle of my workday to maybe taking a day off because maybe I need to see my family because I live 1,200 miles away from my family, and getting home is always a $multi-hundred ordeal. And so it's always a big deal. And so, like, oh, well, maybe I just, like, if I let anxiety tell me, then I would never go home. I would never see my mother. I would never see my sister or my nieces and nephews. I would never see any of the people that have been foundational in my life. I would never see anybody. Like, if I let anxiety run it the way that it was running Martha, where she was like, well, people are coming to the house. It's Jesus. Jesus, and we love him. And that's a big deal. And don't you see that mess over there? And are you making enough food? And are you going to sweep up after? Are you going to make sure that there's enough wine for everybody to get a cup every time? Like, what if he runs out? What if he's thirsty? Like, it's that. It's just this internal frantic, boop, 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 boop. I have to. And what if I don't? And what if I don't? Now there's this, like, now my soul is not at ease. Because even if I don't, and even though we would be like, oh, if it doesn't get done, then it doesn't get done, right? And we say that externally, but internally, it's nuts. It's nuts. And so I just I had to come against that, like, that spirit of anxiety, and come out of agreement with that spirit of anxiety, and just be like, if I get to the to-do list and it all gets done today, that's great. But if I don't, no one's gonna die. Nobody's going to be so disappointed in you that you might maybe lose a client today. Like, it's just not the way that normal humans who have any measure of empathy, compassion, or understanding of human capacity, like Dr. Gibson was talking about, is not how they would function. And if they care about you at all, there's not going to be a grab on your value. Like, there's not, like, it's not an indictment on your value if you can't do this whole list in one day. And it's not even a full day. I might add that when I do my full day with one of my clients is a 6-hour workday. So it's 6 hours. If it's a lengthy list and you can't get it all done in 6 hours, then you can't get it all done in 6 hours. Maybe you just, whatever didn't get done today, whatever is most prioritized, whatever most time sensitive gets done first. Everything else, it can wait until tomorrow, and you're going to have to be okay with that. And I was like, and that was a very practical way that the Lord engaged me with, like, letting go of that anxiety of being like, you know what, if you need to sit down and have lunch, you can sit down and have lunch, and you're going to stop looking out the window and jumping out of your skin if you see a car, if you see a client's car pull in the driveway. You're going to stop jumping out of your skin, because the reality is, that's not how I made you. I called you to take my yoke upon you and let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle of heart, and I will give you rest for your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions. Like, I will give you rest. And that was something that I was just like, man, like that was really hard to let go of, because that's just not the way that I was raised, conditioned in church, in home, in, you know, in work. It just wasn't the way I knew to function. And so for me, I was like, man, letting go of that anxiety of like, what if I don't? Are they gonna think that I'm wasteful? Are they gonna think that they are like wasting money, spending all? No, you're gonna let it go, and it's going to be fine. This anxiety is not the yoke that I am calling you to.
Mm-hmm.
That is a yoke that the enemy is trying to bury you with.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You,
so
you said something. I want Dr. Gibson to go. I want to highlight, because y'all, whew, there's been some good stuff
Yeah, I
happening in
wanted
the
to get
chat.
into the
So I,
chat.
oh, okay. So
Because
do
I don't
mhm.
you
like
do
the
you
chat
mind
is
if
there
I?
is popping on. I want to get into the chat.
Yes, yes.
So we're on the same page.
Okay.
CK. Yeah.
So I want to bring up a couple of the things that y'all dropped because it's so good. We're touching on a lot of things too, and um, one of the things that was coming to me like while Jasmine was talking is the reminder to all of us, right? Because the affirmation is rest is my birthright, and all of the work that we did is not necessarily to get to the point of arriving, but it's to constantly be doing the
Right.
work to arrival. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so rest is my birthright is not an accomplishment to seek after. It's something that we go towards because it belongs to us. And
Mm-hmm.
I want us to start settling there in our discussion. But something in saying that, something that the Lord was reminding me of is that we are supposed to be applying our culture to the culture that exists and is terrible out here in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a part of like us overcoming the challenge of this is because someone else needs to see what it's supposed to actually look like. like like we need to show them what this looks like.
Mhm.
And so, our desire, it should be absolutely to run our race with patient endurance, right? Our
Right.
desire should absolutely be, I'm going to master this because God says this is who I am, like, and I'm going to show them. And so one thing that I saw popping up in the chat, I'll highlight a couple of things, but there was a theme of y'all mentioning that sometimes it doesn't look like doing nothing or sleeping, but sometimes it's, I have to do it different, and the Lord is showing me how to do it different. So Jabrea mentioned that,
Mm-hmm.
she said something that Jasmine also said, like maybe you're doing the most prioritized
Prioritizing.
thing. Maybe you're doing the most time sensitive thing, right? But prioritizing. Not everything needs to be done right now, and not taking on the load of other people's lack. So
Woo!
something so good about that. We just had for our church our
Mhm.
leadership meeting yesterday, and one of the jurisdictional supervisors for women, she used this example of, you got to take care of your baby first before you go try and take care of somebody else's baby. And every mother,
Mhm.
every parent, every good parent, right, is going to make sure that their child is safe, their child is fed, their child has care before they go trying to help somebody else's child. And it just is what it is.
Right.
So you, that is so good, like prioritizing what is the
Mm-hmm.
highest priority thing that needs to get done. I've been talking a lot lately about the leveraged priority. Like, what is the
Mm-hmm.
thing that when I do this, it makes everything else better or everything else
Oh, that's
easier, right?
good.
And so that was so good. And I wanted to say hey to Brittany. I saw you pop in there, girl. We put a comment in, but I want to shout
Hey,
you
girl.
out. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Ari said, right now it's making room for recovery, not just relief.
Girl, I
Look,
want to holler at you when you said
I
that.
when I saw that in the chat, I said that's so good. And I
Mm.
wanted to bring up something. I believe that we on the core team have shared some things that we've seen online about this, but relief, like getting a reprieve, is not the same thing as true recovery.
No.
And even I'll use this example as for sleep, right? We have seen people go ahead and debunk, oh, an adult should get aim for 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and really humans, and especially women, need like 10 to
More.
12 hours of sleep. But not just that, anybody who functions in life wellness at all knows that all sleep is not created equal. You need
No.
restorative rest.
Yes.
Restorative rest, because the fact of the matter is just sleeping and then actually being restored is different. And so I really loved Ari saying that, right? Recovery, room for recovery, right? By just being and not having to be on. I Husband said, what do you want for Mother's Day? I said, boo, I just don't want to have to think. Okay.
Yep.
Can I not have to be the one running the show? Because I need a reprieve in my brain, right? And sometimes that is what it looks like, is the thing that we need to be done differently is not a relief, it's a true time for recovery. And
It's
I
like a
I just
nap
want,
versus deep sleep. Like a
yes.
nap is relief, but your brain, its dumping system and exchanging those things that long term we find cause Alzheimer's and
Mhm.
neurodegeneration and cause fogginess and forgetfulness and pain and so can trigger autoimmune stuff. It is dumped and exchanged in deep sleep. So like recovery, that's when it's recovering itself and washing itself and getting, if you're just napping as me, because sleep is an area, Lord help me, you're like, I'm getting just enough to survive, I'm getting a little bit of relief. But deep sleep is akin to actual recovery and deep rest, where your muscles can restore themselves, your body can send the messages that it needs to. But that's what it made me think of. Relief is a nap, but recovery is deep sleep, and consistently.
Yeah. So if we can actually continue in this type of dynamic where it's like just jump in when when you got some, I would love that. So continue with Ari's follow-up comment, right? She like, where I thought it meant just finding a quick moment to refresh. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And rest not being about doing less or nothing at all, but sometimes it's doing something differently. And I really
Literally.
wanted to say something about that, because you know we have this joke recently, because Gabrielle came to surprise me for my birthday. And something that is just amazing to me is the consideration, right? This woman came into my home to bless me and was like, basically, what were the things that you were going to be doing? Can I take that off your hands so you could just go have a moment, right? And we had this joke, because what were the things that I was going to be doing? Taking care of my kids. Like, I was going to be trying to work on things on my business every time my about to be 8-year-old was doing an assignment. And then when she's done with the assignment, I'm checking her work and I'm back on her. And then when she's in a moment where I could be hands off, then I'm working on my business again, or something in ministry, right? Like I there's no real such thing as multitasking. You might be doing a bunch of tasks at the same time, but only one of them gets your attention for the nanosecond before you jump back over here and jump back over here. And so it's truly not healthy. It's like it's splitting our brain, and it's welcoming anxiety and lack of focus, if we're being honest. And so like that's how I was functioning, is trying to do these things to take care of my children. So she comes in to help me out with that for my birthday present, right? And we make this joke that parenting is really like, it was just so funny when it happened, because I'm like, she don't even know. Well, she be knowing, but she don't be knowing. She don't even know, like, the comment she made is literally like how the Lord was dealing with me as God Father, right? She said parenting is really you just like saying the same thing over and over again to your kid, right? But then also finding new ways to say the thing you already said. And I was like, it is so true, because not God being like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Not him being like, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. And so something that he brought up to me, right? And I'm toggled here on the doing things differently, is he just said the same thing to me in a different way, where he's told me what he needed me to do in order to break some things that were happening up here was to just start taking like action. Just do something right away. Yeah. Take immediate imperfect action. I have heard Dr. Gibson say this so many times. Just immediate imperfect action before you can talk yourself out of, or before you can try to figure out what's the best way to do. And then by the time you done had all this internal dialogue, you did nothing. All you did was stir up stress, and all you did was partner with anxiety. All you did was partner with imposter syndrome. All you did was partner with analysis paralysis, right? Before we get there, the way that we make our flesh come into subjection and understand we are that girl and rest is our birthright is just go do something, and don't worry about if you got it right. Don't worry about was it the best thing to do. Just go do it. Right. Just go do. Take a step, right? If you're submitted to me, right? If you submitted your business to me, if you asked me for help, if you submitted your family to me, if you submitted whatever you got going on, you asked me about it, and you told me you want to please me, you want my help, you want my input, then please understand that I'm going to perfect you. Like it literally, Philippians 2:13. God is working in you, giving you the desire to obey him and the power to do what pleases him. Ooh, your job is not to make yourself get better. It's not to make yourself do the right thing. Your job is to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, right? Get in the right covenant, get filled with the free gift that he died for you to have, right? And then let God do everything by you just coming back to him, come to him, submit to him. And so the doing things differently, one of the things that he said to me, it was simply like, just go do something and I will fine tune you as you go. Absolutely. So I don't know if any of you wanted to mention something about that before I talk about what Jabrea said.
I'll wait because I'm really feeling you. We've had these conversations before about how to break out of the analysis paralysis cycle, and yes, I'm with it. But I want to get into I don't want to miss the girls in the chat. So Jabrea was talking about training her body to take not to take frequent breaks. Oh, teacher life, don't we know it? Oh my God, today. So that because we wouldn't have coverage. And I do think that this ties to what TK was talking about with Jasmine, and like how we need to bring Jesus culture to the culture. And that's why we as believers, when we're walking in our divine alignment, when we're living out worthy work, we are living in a countercultural way, because like there are times where you're like, and it's different with Jabrea because, when you're working with minors, it's tough because there are ratios, we have to maintain all that other stuff. But it can be like, you train yourself to ignore what you need because everything is treated like an emergency. That's a setup for perpetual stress, because if
Yes.
everything's an emergency, then nothing's an emergency, because everything is an emergency. And so you live in a state of cortisol. Our bodies can actually, which is a stress hormone, our bodies can actually get addicted to it, to even though it's distressing. It's to the point that we're so flooded with it, we don't know how to not. And it's to the extent that women, I mean, there's such a large number of, like, I want to say it's somewhere close to 70% of people with autoimmune conditions are women, because an autoimmune is often happened by this thing. It's like, what happened? We don't know. Your body just is fighting itself. Your immune
Mm-hmm.
system, instead of fighting a disease, is now fighting your body. And it's often triggered by not just moments of stress, but chronic and prolonged stress in the body. Hello, somebody. That's another spot. I didn't even mean to
Suppressed
go in that
emotions
direction.
again.
Girl.
But it's, we really need to talk. We need to deal with this, and we need to talk about it. How can we
Yes.
be countercultural when we are bringing the culture to the culture? We can't. And so it's about unlearning and undoing, because if you're conditioned that way, even me, I'll still hold my weight and not I'll still hold it
Right.
even if I don't need to. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. I love that Rochelle said, I found resting time with the Lord in a bubble bath. It's been my quiet time with him. And what I enjoy about this is that a lifestyle of rest is not about, I'm taking a 90-day sabbatical every 3 days. You can't do that, right? Like, TK is exclusively breastfeeding a child, an infant, and has a toddler and a soon to be 8-year-old, and runs a business, and she homeschools them. Like, she can't just be like, nah, somebody else do it and just go by her life, right? Like, we
Right.
just can't. We cannot vacate in that way. But what we do is we make strategic choices from the place of rest that fortify and enforce
Mm-hmm.
it. And so it may not mean like you get to take a break and not go to work for like 90 days right now. Maybe in the future, because we're building towards our dreams, right? Maybe you can't do that right now. But you know what you can do? Where can I center it and protect it? What does it
Mm-hmm.
look
Mm-hmm.
like? Sometimes if you ever feel like I need to sit in the car for a little while before I go inside the house, or like you're going on a drive and you're like, oh, I have to commute and I'm tired of the commute, make that your altar.
Mm.
Rochelle she said she made the bubble bath an altar. And she said, this is
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going to meet with God. And the God isn't only in you talking, he's in the still and the quiet of you just
Mm-hmm.
sitting and receiving. And so it doesn't have to be perfectly curated. It can be bath time, it can be shower time, it can be, but you need to make sure that you are protecting that space, because anything that's not protected is vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not calling dibs, the enemy is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Come on.
um Zainab said,
Yes.
now I approach rest more from an internal space. Very good. Yes. I am learning to rest to let, excuse me, I am learning to rest in my body, if that makes sense. I was
It does.
disconnected from absolutely. Oh, girl, yes. I was disconnected from my body and needs for a long time. So I'm listening and resting when needed. Girl, this is long form deliverance.
Oh
And
yeah.
we've been talking about, that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
We are restoring ourselves to our God ordained identity in doing that. There are many of us, and this has to also do with like the stress addiction that we can have, and um being in perpetual survival mode, so that the cues that our body is even communicating us, because this is a well-designed machine, but we can be so conditioned to override the fail safes, the safeguards rather, that the Lord has put in us, that we don't even know how to be here because we've been ignoring and overriding it so much. So just the act of saying like, I'm choosing to like be present here and reconnecting internally, the whole thing matters to God. It doesn't matter if your
Mm-hmm.
spirit man's running on 100, your body is nothing and running to the ground, your soul is weary, right? We are triune beings. So it's your soul, it is your spirit, and it is your body. This is where the Lord lives, right? It may be a jar of clay, but it's his jar of clay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important because he uses that. Just like you ever feel something in your stomach and you know something's wrong, and you know the Lord's telling you, this isn't right, right? Like he uses the whole body. He uses the whole being. He uses the whole soul. So it's important that we're connected with it, because when we disconnect from our body, we're missing something. We're missing a communication mechanism with the Lord. And so it's important to reconnect. So I thought that was really dope. Hello, come on, Cree. Cree said the same thing. She said the tub is definitely my prayer space. Absolutely. Find where your non-altar is. Find where your non-closet is. Because we can't always get. And sometimes you do gotta go to a closet and just face the wall. You know what I'm saying? But I think rest is essential in order to sustain a lifestyle of rest. It's essential of finding what that looks like for you. And then Ari said, "Listen, my job is to accept, be filled, and let God do the rest." Literally, rest is in letting God do the rest. That catch it. Um, and there are a couple things I just wanted to add on because we're wrapping up, and we're actually, I know we're used to like just having a good old time and letting the timer run out, but that is not how things are going to work any longer. So our girl time today, it's our first launch, and it's a special one. So we are just chitting and chatting, and having a good old time in God. But in future affirmation lives, it's gonna be a shorter, a truncated time. However, if you want to get in the tea and you want the overflow, if you're one of the members, you will have exclusive access to like the overflow. We're going to have an after hours every time there's an affirmation live, so that we can really, really get unfiltered and get into the tea, for those who want to kick it in the background. Okay. So, let's get into it. So, one thing that came to mind was just like how much rest is resistance. That rest is resistance. And then what I heard in my spirit was it's a resistance against idolatry. And a great picture of that is Takesha, because I literally, you can see it if you're around Takesha, you can see it. The post-its are everywhere. I'm like, I love that this team does not like, even Jasmine, that we don't say worthy work is a great idea. If you watch people live, we are fighting it. Like, we're living it. And it's funny because sometimes people think rest is idle. Exactly. Or that like rest is like a laziness, but the reality is like rest is active, just not in the way you perceive activeness. Okay. And even TK's revelation of just like, what does rest look like in the season? Mind your mind and mind your mouth. And so she had to take captive the anxious and the busy thoughts intentionally. And that it doesn't seem idle to me. That seems like active. It's a resistance. Right. And so that's also what rest is. It's not letting your mind be playground. It's not letting it be bullied by someone who ain't even died for your sins. It's not letting it be bullied, but it's saying, I'm protecting the peace God has given me at any cost. I'm protecting it's a resistance against idolatry. Because what are those anxious thoughts? What are those other ideas, those competing priorities against sitting with God? They are idols in waiting to put themselves in a position they don't belong in. And so rest is an act of resistance. And so it's necessary. It's warfare. Rest is warfare. It's a resistance against that idolatry. And then so that's what I'm learning. Like, it is that, right? Rest is believing that he can be trusted to do what he said he's going to do. And it sounds so simple, right? But it makes me think about like a wife or like a mom. Like he was talking about Mother's Day. I want to not think, right? But have you ever needed something to be done, and then somebody said they're going to do it, but then you're thinking the whole time if it's getting done properly, and so your mind is just on it, and you're thinking about what else you should be doing, and then you're feeling bad because you're not doing anything, and you're not you're not doing what you think is productive, but you're not resting either. So it's not even just a matter of, oh, God, help me. Rest is trusting that if he said, I'm going to take care of it. Like when I was helping Tiki, had to be a belief there that if she's going to do schoolwork with my child, it's going to get done, and it's going to get done well. If you do not have the trust, rest is a fruit of trust. which is why it's a spiritual discipline. And if you do not trust that he will do what he said he's going to do, you will still be active in a way that is counter Christ. So rest is also trusting that God is who he says he is, and that he's going to do what he said he's going to do. That's what we're saying when we're resting. It's saying, I trust you. When I go to sleep, if I were to sleep on that boat that was having the storm outside, it's saying, I trust that the master of the sea rules it. I trust him to do that. That's what rest is. And that's why rest is work. That's one of the reasons why rest is worship. And then, because I love that we're talking not just about like naps and stuff like that, but we're talking about the mental component of rest and commanding our minds. That's so essential. So one of the things that came to mind too was just how me as somebody who always, I relate to everything that was said today. And I'm often a person, that's why I was yelling, because some of the stuff y'all said, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds, that's like, it's like if my life was a play, you're pulling from the script, okay? Like, well, I have to do it, and it's going to get done. And what's going to happen? And catastrophizing and taking on false weight that don't belong to me, and feeling like I have to do all of these things. And the tool that gratitude is to shut me up and quiet the mind of being like, because when we're not resting, we're so busy moving, we can't see what has settled. If you're in movement, even if peace has settled onto a thing, you can't tell. You ever be in a car and the car moving and going and stuff going, and you don't know if you moving or the car moving or what's going on around you? That's what happens when we're not still. Everything around you could have come to a stop, but you could still be in motion, so you don't even know what's actually settled in God around you. So the practice of gratitude, especially with me, like one of the things I really transparently have to depend on God with is I have to trust God with like health. I've got to trust God with finances and with because when I'm on it, a machine can't compete with me. Do you understand? I am that girl. Okay. But when I cannot function and I don't know what's happening, I have to look to the hills from whence cometh my help, because I run my business. I have to trust God to provide everything that I need. And if I think that I'm still the source of that provision, it's an anxiety-ridden place, because the bills have to happen, even if the body has stopped. So what do I have to trust him. And so in that process, that's one of the places where I try to safeguard from anxiety, but it's a place it can creep in. And so one of the ways that I safeguard from that is just being grateful, is just reminding myself. And sometimes you got to say it until the atmosphere is subject to it. You got to say it until, and I had to just be like, look at the history with God. Look at the evidence of his supernatural provision over my life. Look at the evidence of the healing of God, because the enemy wants us out of sync and out of touch so that we could literally be in the midst of answered prayers, things that would have been perceived as miraculous in other seasons, and miss it. Because we're focused on the enticement of a lack of rest, of a busy mind. We can miss it. We could be sitting there complaining to God while sitting right in his answered prayer of provision, because we're distracted. So gratitude, it quiets, it takes back the authority of your situation, and it invites peace and rest. And so I just wanted to note that, and that I want to pull up Brittany made a comment. Let's see what it says. Oh, my bad. That's true. I try to think of it as I can live a soft life with God. Girl, you better talk my language, sister. I try to think of it as I can live a soft life with God. No need to worry about anything if he's in control. Yes. Be a passenger princess with Jesus. Okay? Be a passenger princess with Jesus, yes, and let him take the lead. You don't have to know everything. You simply, and I love what TK talked about, because it's literally stuff that we put into practice. We have to work it like a muscle, like a discipline, to say, what do you want us to do today? What is your agenda for the day? You rule the day. You reign the day. We thank you for the day. We'll live in your grace for the day. Teach us to number our days, like it says in Psalm 90, like you told Moses, Lord. Give us good speed this very day, like you did for Abraham's servant. When he was looking for a wife, when he would find Rebecca for Isaac, and help us to know the seasons, to discern the seasons, like the sons of Issachar. Um, and you tell us what you want to do for the day, because the grace is sufficient for the day, because tomorrow's gonna have to take care of itself. And that, God, your measurement of success is, what did you tell me to do today, and did I do that? Every day, your best, it will look different, and how you define best is different than how God defines it. So you get in alignment with, what does God say, what is he requiring of you today? And that is your measure. That is your thermometer. That's your measure of success. Did I do what he wanted me to do? Did I prioritize what he wanted me to prioritize? And even when I got it wrong, was I quick to repent and quick to resubmit and quick to reset, right? Like, that is how we maintain that space and place. So anyway, I just want to say that we're gonna be closing out. So are there any closing thoughts that you guys have, or that the panel has? Because otherwise I'm gonna just answer questions about our new basically. I will answer questions and go over how things are gonna work. So yeah, let's take the
Yeah.
last few minutes.
Can I if you don't mind, Jasmine, would you just help me with this real quick? I want to just leave a couple of things. Maybe we did our worthy work for the month of June, right? We are ending with a conversation, but the work doesn't really end. And so I wanted to do two things. I want to encourage you in one way, but also I want to put a couple of things in the chat to consider. Is really just kind of further worthy work, but consider these things. So, Jasmine, I'll say it if you wouldn't mind typing it.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you've done the worthy work for this month of June, now that you've shown up tonight to our conversation, our elevation of this affirmation, I want you to think about a couple of things. One, write down the limiting beliefs that you had about rest. And I want you to notice, because we do need to acknowledge the fact that you've actually been shifting from the former. I want you to write down, what have you noticed about how you've shifted your habits or behaviors to remove or rewire those limiting beliefs. So write down the limiting beliefs you had surrounding rest, and then note the habits or behaviors that have shifted as you've rewired them. So we're going to have those things pop up in the chat. I'm going to just give you uh two more. Okay. So the next thing is, y'all have heard us, of course, bring up, the way that the Lord has highlighted particular scripture concerning our personal journey in this. And I really want you to make sure that you're pressing into, what does the Lord, yes, say as his Rhema word, his living word, but what does he say in the Bible concerning rest and Sabbath and your identity, like in rest. So just, some more Bible study so that the word can wash you when it comes to rest. So that's just something I'm encouraging you to continue doing. Jasmine, you can type that however you'd like to, but generally it is just more Bible study considering rest and Sabbath. And then the last thing is, I want to encourage you in this particular way because of something that literally just happened to me. So the Lord already let me know that we had a season of rest. He rebuilt my foundation of rest and how I'm going to function in that way. And then he let me know that we were shifting into a different season. And then after he told me we were shifting into a different season, so now we laid this foundation. I am to function in this way moving forward, but now that's not our focus because we already laid the foundation. Now operate from that way, but we're doing this now, right? So he already told me that. And then as soon as he told me that, I kid you not, someone out of their mouth was telling me, oh, make sure that you don't do too much, make sure you take a moment, make sure you're resting, make sure blah 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 blah. And so in my head I was just like, that was what God and I were already doing last season. That's not where I'm at right now. So so thank you, but and so I want to encourage you to you've been doing this work with the Lord. Like, it's not been easy for you. You know the work you've been putting in. You know what he has said to you. Do not let someone who is not in tune with the Holy Spirit concerning your season make it seem like you have not come from a particular place or set you back. That is really how I'm trying to encourage you, is don't receive what does not belong to you concerning rest. That was the last thing that I had just want. Do not receive what is not belonging to you concerning rest. That was the very last thing. And I'm gonna hand it to Dr. Gibson because she's gonna get y'all hip to that new here at Living Unfiltered.
So we'll be rolling these new things and announcements out. So one thing I really want you to do, if we don't have your email, please make sure we have your email. You can message it to us. We do have an email form, but since the website is launching tomorrow, you'll see it tomorrow. But make sure that we have your email so that you're staying up to date. If you are connected to our emails, you should have been seeing a couple. You should have gotten at least two from us. And the first one's like a newsletter. The second one was letting you know about tonight. Please make sure that if you are in our email list, our community list, that you are checking your promotion folders, especially if you have Gmail, because they shift the filters around and now it's going to promotions folders. So you can add us to your contact list, or you can just prioritize it so it comes in the inbox. But you don't want to miss things, because yes, we're on social media, but there are going to be exclusive things that are only for people who are tapped in, and there's going to be even more exclusive things only for people who are members. So to be clear, you'll still get a little something. If you don't have any membership, you'll still get a little something. You'll have access to some things like our the shortened versions of our lives. So you'll get at least something every month. And of course, you'll get whatever we release on social media. But in terms of everything else, this is for us and for the community that we've been building the past 5 years. And so we want to share that with you, and we want to ascend. We want to go up another level. So let me share with you a little bit about what we have concerning the community specifically. I also want to know, if you are in the New England area, because I know we've got girlies all over the country. If you're in the New England area, we will be launching New England Sister Circle around here. I said Sister Circle. Oh Lord, community crew. If you know my old days, y'all know I served as I used to be the Sister Circle coordinator for the South. Back in my wives in waiting days. So I still be in my spirit. But we do community cruise here. So we'll be launching a New England community crew. And for my Atlanta community girl crew, we will be on and popping. I also will be stepping away as co-leader. My co-leader Jasmine will be stepping up, and we're looking for another co-leader. So if you're interested, holla at us, let us know. That will still be happening as it happens. We'll be enhancing things. So that's not what anyway, I just want to make that clear. If you pull up in person, pull up in person. Amen. Okay, so now for our online community. So our Living Unfiltered community, we want to welcome you to the Living Unfiltered LU membership community. A personal development membership community for people hungry to heal their self-concept and flourish by aligning with the identity God designed for them. This is your sacred space to heal, grow, and thrive. Well, we do that together, okay? This is a movement built by moments of intention, introspection, and vulnerability. So here we undo in order to become. Y'all know, y'all know, y'all know. We embrace our worthy work because we're what? We're worth the work. And we
Work.
support each other in living unfiltered, unapologetic, unadulterated, abundant lives. So the memberships are different tiers, but overall they include monthly and weekly affirmation elevation for mindset elevation, live and recorded workshops on personal and spiritual development, digital workbooks, lessons, resources, virtual events, multifaceted coaching, faith-based accountability, storytelling, right? Because we have stories and they're ours to tell. Embracing our stories and uplifting the stories of others, healing conversations, authentic community connection, and exclusive podcast episodes and other tools. So, if one thing you know about Unfiltered, we meet you right where you are, okay? But we're not going to leave you there. So this is the worthiest work you're going to do in your life, and we're doing it together. So we want you to join today, if you haven't already, and start living unfiltered. So I'm going to actually just go over the tiers, and then we're going to let you go for the night. I hope that's all right with you. I hope that's all right with you. And when you do become a member, if you want to become one tonight, that's cool. If you want to wait until like the big launch, this will be replayed tomorrow, and the website will go live tomorrow. And so you can like check out the website. You can get you some product. You can, if you want to do that, that's cool. But when you do join the community, I have a little welcome announcement, a little welcome recording. So make sure you listen and respond. Okay. All right. Let's review. Hold on. So I want to make sure everyone knows what they're getting into with each tier. Okay. So the first tier is unfiltered, and that is $5 a month. But we also have yearly plans to save you some coin and just get out the way. So it's $5 a month for $12 a month. We already know that that's like $60. But we have, if you want to pay all that once, you can do just $50 for the year. This is the unfiltered tier, and we say welcome, beloved. Because this is like the bronze tier of our subscription. So it not only gives you private access to the community, but you also get monthly Living Unfiltered, Affirmation Elevation, and Worthy Worksheets. You get exclusive access to AE After Hours and that's the extended full-length Affirmation Elevation Live, where we really, really get unfiltered. And then you'll also have priority access to updates, announcements, resources, and events. Now, let me tell you, how, because I'm in New England for a little bit, and you know how it is up here, right? That like Dunkin' is a way of life. I got just a frozen coffee, which I don't get often. I haven't gotten in a minute. I've just been drinking water and electrolytes. And I said, since we in a heat wave, record high, let me have a coffee. Do you know it would cost me more to get not a large, a medium frozen coffee from Dunkin' than for this membership? I just want to throw that out there. I know some of y'all know that better than me because you'll be drinking your coffees every day. I could not believe it. Okay, so the next tier is the unapologetic tier, because we see you, beloved. So this is like the silver tier subscription, and not only grants you all the bonuses of the unfiltered tier that we just mentioned, but you also get monthly exclusive AE Worthy Work journals. What does that mean? So y'all got the free Worthy Work that you could work through, but we're going to send out a journal that you can either print or you can type into directly, that's customized. So as you're doing your Worthy Work, you're literally engaging with the work right there with you. And that makes it evergreen. So you can literally keep it and build onto it, or you can reuse it for different seasons, but it's it's customized for each month. So you're going to get a journal based on the affirmation and the Worthy Work every month. Every month you get a new one. Then you also are going to get an exclusive Living Unfiltered podcast episodes. As you've known, Facebook was already tapped into the spirit because we knew we were pulling our stuff off of Facebook and we were transitioning. Facebook is now deleting all of the videos and all of the lives, right? And if you know how we get down, that's hundreds of things. That's a lot. So there's not other places where you can get certain content that we have. This is going to be the only place that you can get that. So this is an exclusive podcast that you can't get anywhere else. And you're also going to get a free Queen G Creative, which is my business, Therapy with Jesus journal map. If you have one, and if you've used it, not if you have it, if you've used it, say something in the chat. If you haven't, it's a very useful tool, and I actually make myself the guinea pig and walk you through an actual journal mapping with my Therapy with Jesus of how I worked through very real and what felt like overwhelming emotions. So we don't want to just give you concepts and ideas. We want to give you practical tools. So that plan is already an amazing plan. It's $15 a month. But if you want to save some coin, meaning save 2+ months of money, then you can, it's actually, yeah, it's more than 2 months for free. So you can get the subscription for a year, and that's $140 for the year. Okay. We're almost done, and we're gonna let you go. We just want to let you know what you're about to get into. Okay. Now we getting with the heavy hitters. Okay. The next tier up is the unadulterated tier. So this is like the gold level tier. I know that's right. Okay. So you get everything in the first in the last tier. So everything in the unapologetic tier, right? And everything in the unfiltered tier. But then you add on top of that, you get a free consultation with the coach of your choice. Now, I don't know who does and doesn't know, but we all have our experts over here on this chat. Okay. So you have the option to choose a consultation with Train Your Temple, which is holistic health, wellness, and life coaching with Coach TK. Okay. Well, that's me right now because it's a mirror thing, but there she is right there. You also have the option to work with Thrive Assistants, where you can have a consultation about executive support, organization strategy for your life and your home, and child care expertise with Coach Jasmine. And when we talk about expertise, we're talking like she's 20 years of experience in child care, early education. She manages the lives of the successful CEO, presidents, the wealthy, that's what she does when she's not on here. So she has a very deep understanding of executive support and organization strategy. And TK has 11 certifications, degrees, and things. I cannot list them all. I do not have the brain capacity. Okay. So even though we're approachable and accessible, these really are them girls in their field and what they do. You also can choose to do creative strategy, executive leadership, personal professional development, because you know that's my bag, creative strategy and executive leadership with me, Coach Queen. So you get to choose any one of us and get a consultation. I want you to know that we're not, even if you were one of my clients on a regular basis, I'm not even answering the phone for for the monthly fee. But this is an act of love for our community, and an incentive for you to continue to do the worthy work. You'll also get a monthly LU affirmation audio, and it'll be the only place you can get it right now. It's exclusive to you right now. So you'll get a new one every month. You will also get a lock screen wallpaper to go with your affirmation, because for me, I got to see it so I can keep on believing it. So we'll give that to you for free. You also get evergreen. Everybody say evergreen. That means it don't expire. You get an evergreen 20% off discount code on resources and merch. What does that mean? Well, resources have to do with our like replays, ebooks, courses, curricula, workbooks. Those are our resources. But our merch is when you rep the set. You know what I'm saying? Like when you our notebooks, our journals, our hoodies, our gear. So you get a discount for both of those things, beloved. Okay. You also get one free virtual or in-person event a year, depending on the registration. So that excludes the retreat. But if let's say we do a Safe Summer Sex Series live, and you are a unadulterated tier member, and the registration is under $100, and you get to come to that event. And honestly, I love y'all for that, because I don't even know how long we're going to keep that, because for you guys, we will. Okay, so that's the unadulterated tier, and then we're gonna get into the last tier. This is the juggernaut tier. You understand? This is for the big dogs. This is for the people who don't play about you. Yeah, you don't play about you, beloved. This is the abundance tier. This is like the platinum tier, and it includes everything that we've just said. Everything that we just said, it includes. But this is what you also get. In addition to that, you get a monthly affirmation, elevation, and worthy worksheet. I already talked about that. You get all of that. Sorry. You get much more than that in this one. Okay. So this one you also get, you remember we talked about you get to pick a coach? Well, for this one, you actually get access to all of the coaches. Okay. You get, it's a bundle. It's a coaching bundle. So you get a consultation with all of us. You don't have to pick. Huh? One for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Huh? So you get a consultation with all of us. um, and you get to schedule that with us. And then you also can get a one-to-one voice memo follow-up with the coach of your choice. So let's say you're like, I am on a wellness journey. I want to be in holistic health. I want mindset strategy around it. I want practical tools. I want my body right. I want to know what to eat. I want to know how to organize my week and my mind. And I just need a little extra something. You get then would be like, so Coach TK, can we do a one-to-one voice memo? And you can then follow up with her in a one-to-one voice memo with the coach of your choice, if that's the coach that you choose. You also get 25% off. This one I'm very excited about. 25% off the Unfiltered Retreat. If you know, that's right, Abigail. If you know, you know. Okay, the retreat is an investment. It's worth every penny and more. But if you know it's an investment. So if we're talking about 25% off, that means we love you and we ain't playing with you, okay? So you get 25% off the official retreat. Plus, listing. Are you listening? Okay, that's how I bring it. Can you listen? You also get, after 6 months of membership at the Abundance tier, you get a free registration for the retreat. Do you hear that? After being a member for 6 months at the Abundance tier, you're just coming. You just got to get on the plane, babes. So not only do you get a discount, even if you don't do the 6 months, that's fine. You still get a quarter of it off. Okay. You get 25% off. And then if you've been a member for 6 months, then you get it for free. And if you pay all at once for the registration, guess what? Like, let's say you wanted to do the annual fee, and the annual fee is almost $400 less than what you would pay month if you paid every month, because we believe in a bargain over here. So let's say you want to cough up. You're like, hey, I know this is an investment that I want to make. I really want all the perks and the benefits, and you pay the annual thing. Guess what? Your registration for the retreat is taken care of because it's included in the plan. Okay. Okay. And that's true with all of these. Anyone who pays the annual, everything in there you automatically get. So you don't have to worry for a year. Okay. You get 25%. I was really excited about that. So I had to make sure I made that one very clear. You also get free quarterly merch. So every quarter it's going to be a surprise for you. Okay. And if you ain't seen the merch yet, I know you went at the retreat, but if you ain't seen the merch yet, you ain't seen my Instagram, okay? It be on and popping over here. So you get something new. Y'all about to have more stuff than me. You get something new every quarter. You also get one free product from our LU resources. And so that means, like, let's say you were like, hey, I didn't go to Save Summer Sex Series last year, and I really want the tea. You get to select one of our products for free. There's a tier of which products you can get, but you get to get one in your package, which is crazy because it's crazy. It's a lot of high level content and it's crazy, but it's not too crazy for the people we love. Okay. Because this is what we do for our community. Okay. So those are our tiers. You have unfiltered, unapologetic, unadulterated, and abundance. Um, and if you're just like, I can't swing it right now, you can start with unfiltered. If you're like, I don't have anything at all, don't worry. You're still going to be able to get something from us because we're here to serve you. But we want to deepen the work that we're doing. So we're excited to see you in the community. I want to see the posts, the chats, the conversations. I really want to get into it with y'all. So I can't wait to see you in this new unfiltered era. If you have any questions, please ask them now, because otherwise I'm going to let you go for the night. We're going to continue to give you more information. Keep a lookout for your emails. And also, we already shared our save the date for the retreat. Yes, I know some people were like, girl, are y'all doing a retreat? Yes, we are. So if you are interested in that, continue to keep your eyes out. We already secured the dates. It's always the first weekend in December. And so you can check our page, and it'll be on our site as well tomorrow. And it's already in your email if you're subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, girl, what is you doing? All right. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? I don't see any questions. It was a lot of information, but it's really good information.
I did want to just remind everyone that just in case, right, make sure you check your promotions folder if the emails are landing there. Just keep an eye out that they might land there. So if you add us as a contact, it should start going to your primary folder if it did land there.
And the links are available. So to be honest, a little secret is this is why you gotta check your email. Like our products that are available, if you have been checking your email, you would have already gotten access to them. You could have purchased them before we even released tonight. Okay. So check your email because some of the products are there. The save the date is there. The description for all of this is there. And we are gonna put in the chat the link to join the community. Now that you know what all of the tiers are. And of course, you can always ask us any question. And feel free, let's say you want to start on the unfiltered tier. And you're like, oh, snap. They getting the other stuff on the other tier. I really want to get in there. You can upgrade your membership at any time that you want to upgrade your membership. Okay. We are so glad. Any closing thoughts? I'm just really excited. You guys. Share this with your friends. They can catch the replay. They can watch it. They can watch it after this, or they can catch the replay. We'll be rebroadcasting this tomorrow. But to my teammates, anything else you want to share with the people?
Don't let your worthy work stop here. You see that further worthy work that Coach CK gave us? Don't stop your worthy work here. It's not just, we do a little something so that we can have something to talk about when it's time to talk about it. It's we do the work all throughout the day, all throughout the week, all throughout the month. The work is so necessary. It's just like it's just like saying that you go to therapy, but you don't use any of the tools that your therapist gives you when you go home. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Huh? Just because you read the affirmation, just because you took time to read through the entire QR code attached document, doesn't mean that you did the work. So do the work. Ask yourself the hard questions. Write down the answers. Search the scripture. Search your heart. All of the things. So, because you're worth it.
You're worth the work. You're worth
the
work.
work because it's worthy work. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. And also, come and join our community because it's going to be fire. And your whole life is about to change.
You're so excited.
That's all I
know. Mrs. Glidden? Okay. We love you all so much. And if you stumbled across this live, it's not by accident. It's because purpose isn't finished with you, and neither am I. I love you all so much, and I cannot wait to see you. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Of course, we'll have updates coming. Check your emails. Turn on your notifications for YouTube. Turn on your notifications, even if it's not nobody else. For us on socials as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you like our new Instagram page. We've got new Instagram, we've got new TikTok, we got new. So make sure you check in there. And yeah, let us know and share this. Share this with at least how many people did you do? Share this with at least 5 people. Okay, that's number of grace. Share this with at least 5 people. On July 1st, we're going to be launching July's Affirmation Elevation for the month. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that, because it's going to be led by none other than our very own Jasmine Harris Packard. I love you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.